Following World War I in 1919, Japan proposed the inclusion of a racial equality clause at the Paris Peace Conference. This proposal was based on the spirit of Hattsuko Ichiu, all the world under one roof, an ideal revered by the Japanese since ancient times. However, in April 1919, Japan's proposal was rejected at a meeting of the League of Nations, mainly due to opposition by President Wilson of the United States. Furthermore, the United States began to conduct anti-Japanese activities at a national level, including the enactment of the Immigration Act of 1924, which restricted immigration to the United States of America by Japanese citizens. Nitobe Inazo, an Undersecretary General of the League of Nations, was extremely disappointed once the United States enacted legislation restricting immigration by Japanese citizens. Afterwards, acting at the request of Emperor Showa, Nitobe worked tirelessly to serve as a bridge between the two countries. Although rejected at the Paris Peace Conference, Japan's proposal for racial equality was finally realized after 30 years had passed in 1948 as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights at the Third General Assembly of the United Nations. However, Japanese people were still inflicted with a one-sided sense of atonement towards the war as a result of the War Guilt Information Program infused by GHQ's initiative, a plan designed to brainwash the Japanese and instill a feeling of guilt regarding the war. In addition to concealing America's responsibility for the war, this program aimed to crush the morale of Japanese people so that Japan would never again resist against the United States of America. Furthermore, media restrictions enforced by a press code made it impossible to criticize the Tokyo trial or to report trials taking place in China and Korea. Many Japanese people were instilled with a feeling of guilt towards the war, believing that Japan is an evil nation that invaded other countries. The spiritual cohesiveness of Japanese people was crushed by methodical actions to disparage the tradition and history that were the source of national pride. Eventually, it succeeded to completely dispel patriotism, to instigate distrust toward government leaders amongst citizens, and to divide public opinion by encouraging communist activity under the name of democracy. Even 70 years after the war has ended, Japanese still remain brainwashed. A distorted historical notion has taken root deep in the heart of Japanese people. Just as planned by anti-Japan forces both in Japan and overseas, this brainwashing has had a devastating effect on the psyche of Japanese people. In order to completely rewrite the modern history of Japan, it is necessary for many Japanese people to recognize the falsehoods of the current notion of history and to spread correct knowledge of history throughout the world. We must take action to stop the brainwashing of Japanese people with a historical awareness contrived to benefit the winners of the war. A history designed to ensure national prosperity of China, Korea, Russia, and America. This false history has made it possible to place blame for the war entirely on Japan. Moreover, by exerting just the slightest pressure, China and Korea have been able to extort compensatory and monetary aid from Japan. Japan has contributed and distributed an enormous amount of funding to China and Korea via the Official Development Assistance, ODA. Now is the time to examine the true historical facts regarding Japan in the past and to dissolve the curse that binds Japanese people. The world is still in the midst of chaos. Religious conflicts continue to escalate. Japanese foreign diplomacy is also faced with a difficult decision. Yet Japanese people must take pride in their national spirit of cherishing the harmony among people and appeal this ideal to the world. The essence of Japanese spirit, namely wa, is found in recognizing and accepting the diversity of each and every person. This is a valuable lesson for today's world, which is embroiled in never-ending conflict. Great wisdom is needed for Japan to exercise world leadership and put this spirit into effect. The Japanese spirit of harmony cannot be found in any other country, not China, not Korea, not North Korea, and not even our ally of America. Other countries focus solely on their own benefit. Of course, this is only natural, as even Japan constantly prioritizes national interests. The spirit of harmony is the very tradition of Japan since Prince Shotoku in 604. Japan must re-examine its modern history, conduct thorough research, and polish wisdom to overcome the information war and propaganda used by other countries. Unrestricted warfare, literally warfare beyond bounds, is a concept proposed within the book Unrestricted Warfare, New Warfare in the 21st Century, written by 2 colonels in the Chinese Air Force. Instead of conventional warfare, which involves a declaration of war and the subsequent injection of military force, unrestricted warfare proposes a new type of warfare encompassing all aspects of life, information, politics, and economics. For example, computer hacking is used to disrupt the information of the enemy country and to acquire classified information. It is estimated that there are currently 400,000 internet soldiers in China today. The duties of these soldiers include manipulating information to instill an image of Japan as evil, to instigate domestic interference toward worship at Yasukuni Shrine, and to ensure the propagation of a historical awareness created by the Tokyo trial. Another example is the creation of pro-China and anti-Japan TV programs in order to brainwash Japanese citizens through the Japanese mass media. Japan has been vulnerable to information warfare and propaganda used by anti-Japan forces, both abroad and in our own nation. We have not been able to issue a counterstrike against such tactics. Therefore, since the defeat in the Greater East Asian War, many Japanese people have lost their national pride, as well as the esteem to their own history. In order to empower our children to create a new future and to ensure that Japan is never again deceived into a meaningless war, we must recognize correct Japanese history upon the 70th anniversary of the Greater East Asian War. Let's take back our pride as Japanese people.